So I'm going to talk a little bit about um, binary and hexadecimal notation for basically used in conjunction with binary to write machine language or assembly language. And these numbers here, starting with 00, it shows all the hexadecimal numbers that and their counterpart, their decimal counterparts, up to 255. So you see, hexadecimal is a um, base 16 number system. Then this one we use is a base 10 number system, and binary is a base 2 number system. So you can see it takes more digits to address a number in binary than it does in decimal. But it's simple. It's on off. There are on off switches, which is how a computer has to count. It's basically the um, simplest form of, or simplest number system that there is. You know, you only have two digits. They're either on or off. And bytes come in 8 bits. Each register is a bit. And a byte is 8 bits. But Commodore is an 8-bit computer, but it still has to use 2 bytes to address all the addresses in the Commodore, which is 65,536 or 64K. And it takes four digits in hexadecimal to address that number. If you want to address any more numbers, you have to have more digits. But this is basically why hexadecimal is used in machine language, assembly language programming. And here, I've made this little chart up to try to make it easy to understand. And so I split the byte up into what's called a nibble, which are 4 digits. Half a byte is called a nibble. And so you see it takes 4 digits in binary and 4 places, a 2-place decimal to address for binary bits, which is up to 16, and 1 digit for hexadecimal. So when you're counting in hexadecimal and decimal, they're basically the same all the way up until you hit 9, and then you have to use 2 digits in decimal to represent the next number, which is 10. And you're still using 1 digit in hexadecimal. So hexadecimal goes all the way from 0 up to F. And then a 1 would go next to it, and then a 0, and you start counting again until you come up with FF, which is 256. 512. 512 total. Excuse me. It's 255 total. I made a mistake here. But you see how it doubles each time. So one digit, or and 0 is counted as a number. So even though you're up to, it counts up to 15, it's actually 16. So I think I got that wrong. No, this is right, because the last digit, each time you add a digit in binary, it doubles. So this digit alone represents 128 when turned on to the computer. And when you add them all together, it comes up to 255. So when all the digits are ones, it's 255. In FF, 255. So what's real interesting is in programming, you use Boolean math to check or to just toggle a single digit by using these numbers in your math, so that if you wanted to extract a number or find out if this digit was on, rather than uh, peeking the entire number, which it could, if any of these other digits are on, then it's in combination of those numbers. Um, for instance, over here, when we look over on this side here, um, you see how each number has its own, each digit represents a number, but combined together, 0, this equals 1 by itself, this equals 2 by itself, but to make a 3, both those digits are turned to 1. And then 4 has its own, so they go as the 1, 4, 8, and 16, and keep it on going, 32, 64, 128, 256, and then 512 when you're going into another byte, 512, 1024, 2048, and 4090, 4094, and so on. So you see how the all the game machines and everything, um, uh, are like 64-bit, 128-bit machines, 32-bit, the lower ends, and then they get higher and higher as they get more powerful, because they double each time. Um, and that's how they came up with those numbers. In case you're wondering. Well, like I showed you, this shows the binary and its decimal equivalency all the way up to 255. And I've got a little program here which will read this. Right now I got it set up to read. It'll read the image that I've got in Drive 8. I've set up several programs in Drive 8, and I'm just going to give it a starting address of 0, and no, hex dump. And here you see it's showing the address starting at 0 and showing 8 at a time. So the next one is 8, 10, 18, 20. These are the addresses over here on the side that it's reading on the disk. And This is a hexadecimal, and then um, it shows the ASCII code over here, and if there's no ASCII code that's connected with it, then it's replacing it with a period. And this ASCII code A0 could be a space, but you see how it shows the characters over here, which is good for like if you want to debug a program. And I have one of these programs that actually where I can actually make changes and write to it. So you can actually, the hackers in the old days, Commodore hackers would use programs like this to break um, copy protection. And I used a program like this to find out where the scores and the levels were kept at on the Lode Runner Championship Lode Runner game, and I was able to make my own little program that would write to the disk. I call it level change, which would let you change the level on any one of the the screens, the level screens in Lode Championship Lode Runner, and I was able to use a program like this to find out where that was just by looking for the ASCII character, um, where that place in that program was, and I was able to use it to make little changes and test it out, and figured out how it worked, and then wrote my own little program that you can change the levels in Championship Lode Runner. So this is basically how this one right here. I don't believe you can actually write back. It's just a disk examiner. That's what it's called, disk examiner. And I've started on the low from the beginning. I could have probably started anywhere. See if I can go farther into the disk. So I'm going to say start the address at 2400. Let's move down. There's really not much there, just a bunch of nines. Yeah, picked a bad spot. I haven't used any of these programs. Let's forget about that right now. I copied a disk just to see how many of these programs would actually work. Um, disk utilities. And I was playing around with them because a lot of those disk utilities that use a 1541 drive will come up with errors using it with Vice. So I haven't really tried much, but I was kind of curious of what programs worked and what didn't work. So I was playing around with them and just seeing what all would work on the Vice and if there's anything any good on here. And you see, this is just one disk I have. And this is actually my menu that I created with my menu designer program. And I picked this one because I figured the programs here might be something that could be used. And just kind of trying them out. And a lot of them just won't work properly. 8 is the device number. Now I need another drive. I need another image on here. So I'm just going to put an image in 4. I think that's what it's asking for. I actually have one that I made up. go blank disk. It's got nothing on it. I'm going to say drive 9. Oh, hold it. Let's start this over. Try this again. 8, 9. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, I really don't understand what this program's doing. I'm not going to mess with it now. Just forget that. Let's do a reset. But since I was really wanting to talk about math, Commodore math, which is algebra, and I think I explained some of the symbols, like the shift is 6, arrow up is a power sign, the slash is a divide, and then asterisk is times. So when you see those in the program, that's what they're doing, and they're performing algebra math. For instance, if I want to say a variable a equals, and then I use brackets to do a function, like an algebraic function, a equals, and then usually put another variable in there, but let's just try a math program. Let's a equals 1, and I don't even know what I'm doing, but let's say a equals 1 divided by, and if you use another bracket, it performs the function, the mathematical equation inside of those brackets first. So a equals 1 divided by 2 to the power of 1, and then dot dot, and then say print a. See what happens here. It's 0.5. Now, I didn't know that, but that's what okay, a is 0.5. 1 divided by 2 to the power of 1 is 0.5. Let's change that number in there. 2 divided 2. Let's see what happens on there. It's a good way to learn math, eh? 0.25. Now, if you're an algebra whiz, then you know more about what's happening than I do here. But so that's basically how mathematical, how your math is done. And I know really nothing about algebra except what I learned on the Commodore, because I couldn't pick it up in school. I couldn't understand math that well in school. I didn't really start getting into math until I got into machining, and then had something to apply it to, and then it became really interesting to me, and I learned how to do, you know, the vocabulary. You know, I'm still no good at, you know, but I understand it a lot better since I've been working with it, like on the job, and then when I got into programming, and it's really fun, you know. I mean, I really love it. Math is really great, you know, but you know, some people have a hard time with it in school. I just want to tell you, if you're one of those young people in school that's having a hard time with math, you should never let yourself get put down by that, because you're probably like me, and you didn't find it interesting until you had something to to apply it to. And when you have something to apply it to, it becomes fun. One thing, I never could understand how letters had anything to do with math. The concept never, I couldn't grasp the concept, and that's probably what made algebra so hard for me. But when I started programming computers, it became fun. And that's how I was able to create those games like Pente with logic in them. And God, I couldn't do that now because it's been so long since I programmed. But when I was doing it, when I was programming it, it was great. And this was a great accomplishment for me. And I know I showed this before, and I don't know where all my stuff is at, but I've got more software on here. It's not scrolling for me. Okay, this is because of where it was sitting at. But my Pente game, it was basically, I created the array, three-dimensional array or two-dimensional array, and I was getting into trying to show how I did that in the array, and it's all math, and you got to use math, and but that's what programming is all about. It's about math. You see, every one of those squares has a location that I can check in my program and check values, and and you see, I programmed the logic in this. I was trying to capture two of the computer's pieces, and it blocked me. So that's the logic I got to program into this thing. And this thing is really too fast. It's compiled, and I've got a couple compilers which I'm going to probably put on my site for people to download. And I also have a decompiler, I've been trying to figure out how to use that because I really want to decompile this program, so that I can actually slow it down. But like my fishing game, that's all compiled. You don't have to know machine language. If you have a compiler, it basically takes the code and compresses it. I'm going to try to trap two of his pieces here. He may not block it if you had two of my pieces. You might have went for that, but you see, he went for it and blocked my piece there. So now he's going to try to block, hopefully, from me from getting 5 in a row. Now I just got beat by this. He captured two of my pieces and then later beat me. See, if I was to put one here, that would be a mistake because he would. No, I'm blue, so I can actually put that. I can actually put one there. If I was red, that would have been a bad place. So this has turned out to be a pretty good game here. I beat the computer, but I've been beaten just as many times, maybe more times. So let's put 3 in a row. See, if I put 3 in a row, he should try to block, because if he doesn't, then I got the game won. And see that? He blocked me, see? This is really getting congested here. Okay, I'm going to put 3 in a row. I got him on this one now. Watch this. Watch this. I got him. I'm going to get 4 in a row, which is either going to have to block me here or block my 3 in a row, which are going to be open. So you see the game is beatable. So there you go. Now all I have to do is, if I got 4 open, the game's going to be all over. Unless he's got a quick win I don't see. Yeah, see, this is why I need to slow the game down. It's way too sensitive. Okay. So not much he can do. He blocked me on the one side, but I'm gonna beat him. Hey, this game's on my site. It's pretty challenging, you know. I mean, sensitive, but you can play it against another person too. Player, play again. No, see that went too fast. I didn't get to marvel at my win. But there you go. That's the game. Now I showed you that before, so.